to talk to you about the brand of hydraulic top link I went with. It's from a company called Spare Parts Holland, and I got it off Amazon because of the free shipping. The type of hydraulic top link I chose has a check valve on top, or they call it a locking block. That keeps the cylinder from sagging, so if you're not actually actuating it, it shouldn't move. And what I did is I leveled out my box blade, then I measured to figure out how much travel I needed, so I had plenty of movement to change the angle. And this cylinder has a minimum of 20 7/8 inches to 31 7/8. And the measurement I got of the cylinder in the level position was 26.5 inches. That gave me roughly 6 inches all the way out and 6 inches all the way in. I did have one issue with the new hydraulic top link, and that was the connection down in the back on the top of the transmission was a little too wide for the bracket that's on there. So I ended up having to grind off about 150 thousandths on the cylinder itself so that it would fit between the slot. But that was the only modification I had to do.
The cylinder also comes with 2 hoses, as you can see here, and all the fittings. When you get yours, if the box is damaged, make sure it has both copper washers for both of the banjo fittings, because without those, it won't seal.
It also came with a cylinder holder. When you disconnect it from the box blade, to hang the cylinder, you use this bracket, and I actually have a hook to hook it on here that holds the cylinder in place when you disconnect it. After I installed the cylinder, to bleed the air out, all I did was cycle it in and out a few times. The first time I pushed it out, you could tell it had air in it because it was kind of delayed, but after it cycled in and out a few times, it was rock solid, so I knew the air was pushed out. It basically just pushes the air out of the return line back to the transmission. If you know about hydraulic cylinders, they're threaded on clockwise. You can rotate the piston, but only rotate it in a clockwise manner. My hydraulic top link did show up with a little bit of damage. I mean, the box looked like it took a couple of good hits, and the locking block on top had been bent, and the tubing that connects to it was bent more closer to the cylinder. It was probably fine like that, but I decided to bend it back and risk a leak, and it did leak, but all I had to do is make sure I retighten that top connection where the rigid pipe connects to the block, and that stopped the leak. Now I'm going to show this actuating all the way in, and I'm going to hold the switch at idle. That way you can see that there's a relief valve in the system, and it doesn't kill the tractor. It'll be just idling, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can hear the engine lugging a little bit. This is something that you don't want to be doing all the time, but I just wanted to show that there is a pressure relief in the system, so even if you accidentally hit a switch, you're not going to blow anything up. The reason why I'm talking about the pressure relief is in my other videos, there was a couple things I said that weren't very clear. One was the system technically isn't running straight from the pump, it's actually running from the loader valve. And the other thing is, the first video I said something about deadheading the pump. Because there's a relief valve in the system, it's technically not deadheading the pump. I meant that it's putting the maximum amount of pressure that the pressure relief is set at on that manifold block, and there's just O-rings in there. I know they're designed to handle the pressure, but if you constantly do it, you might cause a leak, an unnecessary leak. So try not to push up against that relief valve. That pretty much goes for any hydraulic system. You don't really want to, run to the end where you're relying on the relief valve. For one, it's going to weaken your relief valve, and two, it can cause problems like leaks. It was just something I was talking about that came across the right way. We all have things that we say, we know what we mean, but there's 10 ways or 20 ways to say the same thing. So if you like this type of content, check out our playlist and another video. Keep it on the sunny side.